Show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Ninja.
In today's fast-paced world, time is money. More people, businesses, and organizations are demanding instant payments. That's why the Federal Reserve is developing the Fednow service, a safe and efficient instant payments infrastructure that will modernize the U.S. payment system. The Fednow service will give financial institutions the opportunity to innovate, enabling their customers to send and receive money in seconds, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Funds will settle between financial institutions in real time, which means there's no buildup of interbank obligations, and end users will have access to the funds in seconds. How will the Fednow service work? Imagine the owner of a coffee shop is running low on coffee beans and needs to schedule a quick delivery. She places an order, and the coffee bean company sends her a request for payment. She responds to the request for payment and pays for the coffee beans right then and there through an app from her credit union, which uses the Fednow service. Once she initiates the payment, her credit union screens the payment and sends an ISO 20022 compliant payment message, either directly or through a service provider to the Fednow service over the Federal Reserve's FedLine network. The Fednow service instantly validates the payment message and passes it along to the coffee bean supplier's bank. In real time, the supplier's bank confirms to the Fednow service that it intends to accept the payment, and the Fednow service debits and credits the master accounts of both the shop owners and the coffee bean supplier's financial institutions or the master accounts of their correspondents. The Fednow service also immediately sends a payment message with an advice of credit to the supplier's bank and notifies the shop owner's credit union that settlement is complete. Finally, the supplier's bank credits the supplier's account in near real time, making the funds available. The supplier's bank will have the option of sending a confirmation to the shop owner's credit union that the payment has been posted to the supplier's account, providing the coffee shop owner with certainty that the payment was received. The Fednow service will be designed to be flexible and support a broad range of potential use cases. Banks, credit unions, and other industry providers can use it as a springboard for innovation to support a range of applications such as account-to-account transfers and bill pay. For example, now imagine it's after hours and the shop owner gets a reminder that her car insurance bill is due today. She may be able to avoid a late fee by initiating a bill payment in her credit union app and selecting to pay it now. Later, she repays a friend for a pizza they shared using an app provided by her credit union that clears and settles through the Fednow service. With this service, banks and credit unions can remain competitive by offering the type of payment options customers increasingly expect in today's fast-paced world. The Fednow service will support flexible adoption, allowing financial institutions the option to work with aggregators, processors, and correspondents to adopt the service. Banks and credit unions will also have the option to adopt the full set of Fednow capabilities or sign on as a receive-only participant. The initial launch of the Fednow service will focus on core clearing and settlement capabilities. Additional features will be released in phases to meet evolving industry demands and changes in technology. Get ready for the Fednow service. Learn more at fednow.org.
So what Fednow will do is it will enable all the banks, any bank in the United States, not just the big ones, to offer instantly available funds and real-time payments to their customers. I think we can get this into the hands of the public very quickly.
What it really is the next step toward a cashless world.
You're going to have government controlling just about everything. Surveillance of purchases. Anytime you make a purchase, theoretically, the Federal Reserve, the Treasury could find out. Real-time tracking of tax payments. Say you miss a tax payment. They want to arrest you. Then they know you're going to go into the airport. They can arrest you at the airport. Digital ledgers on your phone, never a good idea. They don't even have to ask the banks. They will know. A bureaucrat in Washington could know exactly who is buying what. If you want your life to essentially be controlled, your economic life to be controlled, and that's most of your life, let's face it, by the government, this is it.
I think cash is freedom.
It is.
I mean, it's you do what you want with it. It's freedom. They don't like freedom.
Fed has announced this, and there are really two components of it that matter. The first one is that they're going to modernize an antiquated banking system. Today, when you, for instance, deposit a check, it takes 3 to 10 days for that check to clear the other bank. In a digital world, that should take 3 to 10 seconds. And that system is operating like the 1930s right now, and they're trying to move it into the digital world. That is, as far as I can tell, 100% positive, what I understand of it. The second piece is they're talking about issuing digital dollars. Now, and they're not talking about doing away with cash in this proposal. Nothing I've read anywhere, except maybe some, dark web conspiracy theories, say they're trying to do away with cash. Now, the downside is if they actually issue a template, which is what they're talking about doing, it's almost a crypto of sorts of the dollar, is what it amounts to. They're going to issue you a digital transaction that's different than the digital transactions that we do now. The downside is, the fear is that they'll start controlling those. Like ESG, for instance, they're going to try to say, okay, if you're not going to be woke, you're not going to be able to use your digital dollars. Or if we wanted to ration gasoline, you're not going to be able to use your digital dollars, but you can only use 50 digital dollars to buy gas. And then you have to come up with other dollars of your own. Black market dollars. No, it's not how it works, okay? But that's the fear that's out there. DeSantis and Kennedy both came out against this on the basis that the central bank could overreach their use of this as control. And if they try to use it for ESG stuff, I would agree. If they're trying to control currency and trying to invoke some kind of power over it, I think that would be a problem. But I won't have all of my money in their digital dollars. I'll just have it in digits in my account.
And they're not going to force people to use these digital dollars.
They couldn't. It's the conversion to that would require a complete overhaul of the way we do everything in our economy.
Nightmare.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
If you went from let's say you had to have a certified number to move money to Venmo, or to just to reach over and move money from your savings into your checking so you could cover your Pizza Hut bill, right? Or whatever it is. This would be, the number of transactions this would involve would be so large that for government to get their arms around it and control it, I don't think it would be possible on scale. I mean, it would have to be some kind of real fascism, which honestly, some of the ESG stuff approaches fascism at times, because they've got this
Well, they're assigning values to your money.
They're like religious zealots, in a sense, to push their agendas, and they'll stop at nothing to do that. But and that's, of course, DeSantis and Kennedy's argument, is to keep the central bank, not their job to invoke social change. Their job is to run the banking system.
You stay in your lane, let them stay in theirs.
And as long as they do that, no harm, no foul with any of this. Now, to the extent that they might do that with the digital dollars, it could become hairy, and it's a whole new place you could get canceled if you didn't meet the
there'd be a
if
revolt.
you didn't meet the woke criteria or whatever, right? And so that would be a problem if your dollars freaking got canceled. That's a whole different thing. The first part of this discussion, this ease of transfer and the shortening of the hold periods and all that, because they're updating the antiquated system, is going to add way more freedoms than the little corner of the digital dollars might try to take away. So the net on it, I think, is going to be extremely positive. Although I'm not a big fan of the Fed, and I'm not a defender of the Fed. I'm certainly, for you bozos on Twitter, not a shill of the Fed, just to let you know. But matter of fact, I think some of the stuff they're doing with interest rates is some of the most asinine anti-economic, anti-capitalism stuff I've ever seen in my life right now. Complete freaking morons. So there's the other side of the equation, right?
If you were confused, now he's been clear.
Yeah, but that's it. I mean, so overall, this is good. Overall, this is good.
Down. As banks collapsed all around you, and how you had to pull your money out of your local banks and put it into gold and silver and real estate just to protect your family. How the president of Ukraine just met yesterday with BlackRock, yes, the largest asset manager in the world, as this war has helped them add $9 trillion to their balance sheets. Yeah, BlackRock now owns over 30% of Ukraine. You don't think this was all planned? What a clown world we are living in. This weekend, gold hit a brand new record high as people freak out about government currencies, which are, of course, tanking. And this week, we enter the most dangerous period yet, with economists saying this could be worse than the Great Depression or the financial crisis of 2008.
Inflation is going to get worse, and so is the current financial crisis, and nobody wants to admit we're in a financial crisis. It is worse than the one we had in 2008. It's just getting started.
Friday was a bloodbath for the US dollar, and we're going to get into all of the latest important news that you need to know about just in a minute here. But first, you'll also be able to tell your kids that you were there when they took away the paper dollar and coins in favor of a US digital currency. And you'd be correct, because 50 days from now, the United States dollar changes forever. That's right, in July. And just 3 weeks ago, the U.S. Federal Reserve started the process, the rollout of this new central bank digital U.S. dollar. The full rollout happens in July. So guess what? On July 4th, on Independence Day, we can celebrate losing our freedom. This is not hyperbole. Your freedom to use cash the way you want to is going to change forever, just like what Europe did a few weeks ago, making it illegal to spend cash over $1,000 or 1,000 euros. You can't use 1,000 euros to pay cash. Maybe you want to get some trees removed in your yard and you want to pay the gardener to do that. You can't pay him in cash anymore. Can you imagine? Think that's fake news? Here's the head of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde, explaining it.
No, the problem is they don't want to be controlled. They don't want to.
Yeah, but you know what? Now we have in Europe this threshold. Above 1,000 euros, you cannot pay cash. If you do, you are on the gray market. So you take your risk. You get caught, you are fined, or you go in jail.
So no biggie. You can't spend your own money without the government tracking you, and you can go to jail for it. In the United States, it's called the Fednow program, and it'll replace paper currency, which this week became even more worthless. It'll move the United States to a cashless society, a total surveillance state where every transaction will be tracked. Whereas the...
Can you explain the difference between CBDCs and Fednow?
Well, yeah, the CBDC is the actual digital money of the central bank. The Fednow is the account in which they can put it in so that you, the public, has access to it.
Disclaimer, this channel, Web3 Turtle, is for entertainment and educational purposes only. I am not a financial advisor, and the content provided should not be considered as financial advice. I am not registered or licensed in any financial institution. All investment decisions should be made after conducting thorough research. Investing in cryptocurrencies carries risks. Only invest what you can afford to lose. Seek professional advice or do your own due diligence before making any investment decisions. The views expressed are personal opinions. I cannot be held responsible for any losses incurred. Enjoy the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join our Web3 Turtle community for more content.